athletes and fans of bodybuilding. I'm Linda Murray, 8 times Ms. Olympia, and you are watching Olympia TV. Thank you for joining us. And it's Olympia recap time. Only what? Friday.
1 week away from.
Right, a week away from.
We're still recovering, guys.
We're covering wellness and bikini and doing a recap. This past Friday, we had wellness, and then Saturday, bikini. And like always, every Olympia, there's a shakeup. And this one was definitely no different. So joining me to discuss this Olympia, IFBB Pro, Figure Pro, Wendy Fortino, and Camille Perriott, IFBB Bikini Pro and IFBB Pro Judge and NPC Judge. So let's get right to it, ladies. Let's start with wellness. Let's get right to it.
Yeah. Before we get started, you guys, really quickly, Wendy, you competed. You looked absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Linda, you were running amok the whole time there, just back and forth. Like you guys, I was exhausted watching Olympia from my TV at home. You guys must be exhausted still.
Yes, definitely. But I will say, I know we want to get right to it, but I just want to say that the 60th anniversary Olympia was absolutely the best Olympia production I have ever seen or been a part of. It's funny because my first Olympia that I ever competed in was the 50th anniversary.
Wow.
So,
really?
In 2014 was my first Olympia I competed in. And this was my 8th. So there were a couple years I didn't qualify. And so to be a part of the 50th anniversary and then the 60th anniversary, it was so exciting. But this was hands down, Jake Wood just killed it. Oh my gosh, Dan Solomon, Jake Wood, the whole Olympia team, Linda, you guys crushed it. I mean, this was incredible just from start to finish. The whole thing was amazing. It was incredible.
Yeah. Well, it looked amazing from my couch, so I can only imagine being there in person.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you watched everything? You watched, of course, you saw wellness.
I watched everything. We even had a viewing party at our house, and then I streamed it live at the gym. So we had an audience at the gym. No, it was so much fun. Yeah, we were totally into it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, everyone. We got people, we got all kinds of people chiming in already because, like Linda said, we had a huge shakeup in the wellness division. We had our queen, Franciel Matos, who was a reigning champion 3 years in a row. And then we had Issa come in and take the title. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about all the ladies who, crushed it in that top 10. And let's start off by bringing up the first call out from prejudging. We have here. So here we have, and we're going to just pull up the first.
So this was the first call out.
Yep. Yes.
Yep. And in this first call out, we have Lisa Mezwinkel, Giselle Machado, Isabel Nunes, Elisa Alcantara, Eduarda Becerra, Rayanne Fogel, and Cassandra Gillis.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the first call out.
So really fascinating. Go ahead, Camille.
Well, I was going to say, we did a preview to Olympia back in like June, kind of to highlight some athletes. And a couple of these girls were dark horses that we had mentioned early on. And their placings were pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for all of you out there were a total of 37 wellness competitors that qualified for this Olympia. So if you can only imagine the first call out, and, kudos to every single female that competed and made that 37. They really did look amazing.
Oh my gosh. Like incredible. Yeah. When you look at the first pose here, like this first shot, what like what stands out to you ladies on this one?
So let me ask the judge, how many poses for wellness? 3? Because I hear people say 2 for bikini, but I always feel like there are 3.
There's 3. You have the front. Usually the girls will kind of stand to the front with one leg kind of propped out in front, knee kind of bent. That's usually a more front pose. I think this is more of like a side pose, like when they say quarter turn to the right, and then their back pose. So I would say 3 poses.
Okay, so in this side pose, what are the judges? What are we looking at, Camille?
Well, we're looking at the glutes, we're looking at the quads, the hamstrings, we're looking at the waistline, we're looking at the upper body. So wellness, this is what's so unique about the wellness division. We don't need to go too much into this because I'm sure most of our viewers already know, but you want to have your upper body for wellness is maybe slightly bigger than bikini, but very, very full, dense muscle in the legs. So it's unsymmetrical. So what was interesting about this year's the shakeup was not just that Francielli was dethroned, and I know there's already a lot of people in the chat that are this caused a lot of commotion in the wellness community. But it almost looked as if there was a little bit of a recalibration for this division that, hey, ladies, we cannot let the legs get too, the legs, the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads get too overpowering. Sometimes there's a calibration period where it hurts when that happens and you're competing. It's like, we thought we were coming in bigger and fuller, but Isa did not have the largest legs. Neither did
Elisa. Neither did
Eduarda Becerra.
Or Eduarda.
Well, if you look at the 3 girls in the middle, I will say, we have Francielle, we have Isa, and we have Eduarda. Okay, these 3 women right here, which are your top 3, the thing that really stands out to me on this pose is their waist is so tiny, and the contrast between their waist and then their glutes, and you can see clear glute lines also popping out, that really like separates them from the rest of the lineup for me. And I think that one dilemma that we all run into when we try to build large legs is a lot of the exercises that you do to build large legs really do recruit the core and the midsection. So when you build large legs, it's really important to try to keep the waist tiny. And so that's the balancing act. And I think that these 3 women, you can really see the waist just so tiny compared to the rest of the ratios. Do you guys agree?
Yes. And let's also tell the audience that there was only a 1 point difference between Francielli and Isa.
I'll tell you, divisions like this where there is, Francielli has been the champion for the wellness division since the inception, and this was, she's been an amazing ambassador for the sport. She's stunning. Everybody loves her. So to be the judges at that table, to have it that close and to take away her throne, like that's not an easy task to do. And they found that Isa was the stronger physique. Now I was stunned. You said that about me because I covered you went quiet
pay-per-view. And I mean, being an Olympia champion and knowing, because I watched everything I watched the prejudging, and there are things that I did notice as far as in Francielli, her presentation, that she was a little bit off, not in her physique, but just nerves. It seems like she did have more nerves going on, and you really and understand I'm the champion, everybody's coming at me, so I was stunned. I was stunned because, like you said, Camille, 1 point, if it's 1 point, and when the judges say that out loud, even though I don't believe they said that before they announced the winner. in my mind, I think it always will lean towards the champion.
Yeah.
Well, usually to dethrone a champion, usually what we see is they have to be really off their game to really
Yeah.
do that close,
Mhm.
which is why I think it was very surprising to a lot of people. But let's point
Right.
out some things that we've been discussing. And you're right, Linda, with your reaction, I was watching, I think everyone was just like, whoa, when that happened,
Whoa.
because shakeups are exciting, but Linda, you went quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know I did. I didn't, yeah,
Well,
But
in the
the
words,
the interesting
because
thing
I felt
here,
it.
yeah, absolutely. But this picture right here, this is perfect because
yeah.
Linda, you mentioned that Francielli might have seemed a little off or her nerves. And one
Yeah.
thing, if you can see, all the competitors in this lineup have a certain front pose. And for some reason, Francielli was really standing more straight up and down.
Mhm.
And this, we were talking about that before we started streaming, and this picture shows it absolutely perfectly. But what it looked like from a viewer streaming, and I was not there in person, but it almost looked, the way she was standing here, Isa's waistline looks a lot smaller, and
Yeah.
Francielli makes Francielli look a little bit wider in the midline. So that was one thing I noticed from this particular stance and how she was holding this pose. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
was
agree.
wondering about that too. I felt like it looked like she was like holding back a little bit in this pose. Like she wasn't cranking her physique like she normally does, and as opposed to Isa, who's just kind of going for it.
Right. Right.
I wasn't sure why she changed it up like that, because it does look like she's kind of, a
It
little
looks
bit
intentional. It
Yeah.
looks intentional. And I mean, and I hope the audience from this hold this image, Wendy, because if you look to really look to see, you can see that she was standing more like upright, where with Isa, she really had her back, she was arched. She had those
Yeah.
her glutes really sticking out, and it looked like
We have to get back to that. Sorry, hang on.
yeah,
keep
it
going.
looks like what it reminds me of, and bodybuilders, women bodybuilders, women physique, we don't really have this issue because we're always trying to look big at the top.
Right.
But if and it looks just a little like maybe with Francielli, her upper body, like it seems like, not that she put size on, but it's almost like you're trying to downplay your upper body a little.
Well,
What?
if you go,
Maybe that's what she's doing.
if you rewind just a little bit, usually, like if you Isa,
Like right here.
if you look at yeah, if you right now it kind of changed, but Francielli, the other shot where she was holding her pose longer, this is more of like she kind of flipped her wrist, but Isa's palm is kind of facing outward, and that kind of it flares your delts. Usually when you're holding your palm inward, you're trying to downplay your delts a little bit. You're trying to kind of
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
So that could be maybe
She was aware of it. Like
And
she
if
was
you look
aware
across,
that her
and if you look across the board, you can see that she's the only one with her arm not extended out
right.
in that
Right.
manner.
No, yeah, this is one shot of the whole entire routine, but that is one thing maybe that goes in line with the upper body development. Hard to say.
Yeah, sure. I was extremely impressed with Giselle and Cassandra, but again, like Camille was saying, like Giselle, Cassandra, and Ryan, I'm always really impressed with them. But to Camille's point, I do think that the recalibration was a huge part of why we didn't see Giselle a little bit higher, and we saw, for example, Eduarda was in third. She was one of the smaller athletes, and it would kind of surprise people because up to this point, it seemed like it was like, you know, the bigger the legs, the better. She was a little bit on the smaller side. So I think that, you know, we saw, you know, the size from Giselle and Cassandra and Ryan, and the judges were sending a little bit of a message like, you know, we don't want quite so much size. We want to kind of like back off just a little bit. You know what I mean?
And one of the people that just commented, Paulo Victor, he points out that Issa lost by 1 point last year. I knew he could make it. So this is 2 years in a row. And when you're the champion and it's that close 2 years in a row, you have a situation going on.
Yeah.
And which means that half the judges like one athlete, half the judges like the other athlete. So at that point, you're searching for flaws. You're searching for flaws. And one athlete may have showed flaws more than the other. And the other, I want to compare this, not their physiques, but last year's Open, when we had Derek and Hottie, it was close. And the judges were having to go pose to pose. Okay, who won this pose? Who won this pose? Who won this pose? And that's how they had to come up with that decision. And same thing for Francielli and Issa. They are close. So they're trying to look for like, okay, who's beating this athlete here? This particular pose, they look very similar, but it's that one side pose. I thought that was Francielli's weakness that we just talked about.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you watch this, if you just let this play, Wendy, and watch, because it's hard when you look at stills or when you're not there live.
Yeah.
But when you actually see movement, you can see the confidence in, like, I really see the confidence in Eduarda, and I see a lot of confidence in Issa. And it's almost like Francielli she's not even as smiling as much. And I know people think, well, what does smiling and what is like this is, you do all the work at home and you do the work in the gym and you do the work as far as your diet. But at the end of the day, it's about showing the judges what you have in every single way. It's about presentation.
You know what's interesting? And Linda, you and I were talking about this afterwards. We were texting when you were done live streaming, when this shocked the world.
Yes.
But it looked like the reaction was crazy. Before Bob said the winner, Issa looked so confident. She she knew the results already. It was and then they announced her. She already knew. And I think that's just what I noticed watching and observing them live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say that when you're the champion.
That's what I asked you, Linda. You know about this. You know about this life.
You know. And the reason it's not because it's some kind of conspiracy or something that, people, the judges tell you. The reason is when you're backstage, and if you're the current champion, like Francielli, 4 times trying to, win that title, all the expediters, the tanners.
What just happened to her?
Like, all of those people. And so with that said, they're not as comfortable or friendly. Like, they're trying to avoid you a little. So you feel this thing that they kind of have a sense that something's a little off. We heard from some of the judges that it's really close and you need to step up. You need to go home. You need to go and run some stairs, Linda, between prejudging and the evening show. You do. You know this because
you're feeling the energy.
You feel the energy because all of these people, we're talking about the Olympia and we're talking about professionals in every area of this industry. And you have a relationship with them. You know them. And the makeup artists, even they've heard, because that's when it starts. Hey, she was a little off. She didn't look as comfortable. And then she gets that feeling. And it was almost like I saw that in Francielli. That she was, I saw that.
Well, I think that she's going to have some serious fire out of this. And this, you know, this is what really makes a true champion. You know, I mean, it will feel, I mean, it's going to be a crazy battle between the two of them. I mean, I hope they both do the Arnold and the Olympia because that'll be really exciting for the fans, right? But she's going to go back and she's going to watch the footage here and she's going to remember her moments and she's going to remember her experience. And like in this moment right here, you can tell, like you said, Linda, that the confidence was just not there like it has been in the past. In this pose without anything different other than just pulling herself up and opening up and having that confidence, that when it's this close can make all the difference in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's really evident here again in this. Look at the body language between Isa Francielli and she does seem like she's kind of trying to keep herself small or something. She's not like upright and her chest is not up, her head's kind of a little down.
Yeah, that must have been an emotional night there. I can only imagine.
How crazy. They all have the same hair, the same suit color. Like, it's like, that's the winning look, I guess. We're going to have a lot of blonde girls with red suits next year.
Tierra Hines says, Isa was super confident. She owned the stage. She walked out looking like a champion.
She did.
Yeah.
She did.
Yep.
But let's not I mean, we're maybe pointing out some flaws that Francielli had, but I mean, she, like, you could arguably say that she also had exuded a lot of confidence. It's just,
oh my God.
Like when you're trying to make sense of the aftermath, like this is kind of what you start to like, wow, what happened? But I think the main thing that was the deciding factor for Francielli was the size and the density. I think they really would like it to come down just a little bit, maybe. And you can see that, like we just talked about for the other girls, like when I was watching pre-judging 5 through 10, I thought they were going to be in the first, like probably in the top, like Giselle and Rayanne and Cassandra. Like they could have, I thought they were going to be, in the top 5 or top 6. So there was definitely some messages that were portrayed with the Jerusalem.
And so what you're saying, Camille, is that they're still trying to define wellness, like as far, not define it, but kind of zoom in on what they're looking for and trying to maintain wellness. Not a girl coming in with really big quads and really big hamstrings and really big glutes and,
because if you think about it, the calibration is really important because we have all these divisions, and Sandy has said before, it's like they don't want to pick just like the best that's on the stage. They now there's all these layers to it that weren't there, Linda, when you were competing, and there was only bodybuilding was the only division. With all these layers, you have to think about how does this person fit the criteria, and then within the criteria, how do they pair up and are relative. And Tyler has made the video on this where he talked about the criteria of the wellness division, and he did specifically say he doesn't want it getting out of hand. He doesn't want the girls, glutes and legs to start getting out of hand. And there was a moment when the wellness division first started evolving where it was all about, bigger and more muscle, and the legs started looking more like bigger than the bodybuilding women's legs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they really want to recalibrate it this year. And the Olympia, like we all know, the Olympia and the Arnold are the two shows where the judges go out of their way if they want to make any changes to the direction that things are going. They don't try to do it during the season because they want to stay consistent and they don't want to throw anyone for a loop. They want everyone to know what they're supposed to do. But at the Olympia and the Arnold, if they want to do any kind of calibration, that's usually where they do it.
Yeah. Can you show a shot, Wendy, with from the rear? Because
That's the biggest one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for me, being not a judge and this division being fairly still new and evolving, I'm always so focused on their glutes. So for me, I had on Francielli like the winner,
Hang on.
like in
Sorry, I
that
have to do
sense.
that again.
Because all of them across the board look great. I think Eduarda, she was not as tight as Elisa or as Francielli, as tight as Issa, but I'm so focused on the glutes, right? That
Well, the backsides was interesting. And this is, I think, where you kind of look at each pose and you're like, okay, who wins this pose? Who wins this pose?
right.
Yeah.
When I'm watching prejudging, my honest opinion, I really liked Issa's backside and her. I thought there was great balance. However, I believe maybe some judges thought her glutes may have been maybe a little overpowering, and that they take that into consideration. Issa from the side pose that we were talking about earlier, that transition side pose, her quads look crazy, but from the backside, I think Francielli has more sweep and with legs. So
I'm just gonna say this out there. I'm gonna say I thought that Francielle's back shot was untouchable. I thought there's no way until she retires that anybody's ever gonna be able to do her when it goes to the back. It's like lights out. And honestly, looking at this, I still think that she's got the game over shot in this moment, but there's a lot of other factors that came in play with the decision, right?
Yeah. And this shot is hard. I think this was from like the streaming. That's one thing I noticed from the streaming. The streaming was amazing, but the stage was dark, so you see a lot of shadow, so it's kind of hard to see where the body ends to the backdrop.
Yes.
But I do agree. Prejudging and finals, I thought Francielli for sure had it from the backside too.
Yeah. So, but they're all so beautiful too.
Yeah. So the placings the final placings, you guys all know Issa won, Francielli placed second, Eduarda Becerra. Amazing that fact that she just turned pro. I think she's only been competing like maybe 2.5 years. So she turned pro. She goes in her pro debut. She wins the pro debut, and then she's third in the world right now.
I know.
Amazing.
I mean, yeah, Eduarda and Elisa, like, wow, what? Whew, that's pretty amazing. Autumn B just said something, and you're absolutely right. Autumn B said Tyler said that it's not a size game, so bigger glutes don't necessarily win. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But from spectators and from watching, that's what you kind of gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And that's why the calibration or honing it down, it can be painful, and it can be a shock to everybody, but it's important to do.
Yeah. And that's where I was saying, me as an amateur, as far as, I mean, when you're a judge, like, because that was my thing. I'm like, what's the one point? You know what I mean? Like, when I hear that, like, what's the one point? It's so much easier when it's, I think when it's bodybuilding or something, but and when they're the champion, like for me, I'm Ms. Olympia, and for me, anytime I see whether it's a man or a woman and they're on stage and they're waiting Bob to announce the winner, my heart races. It's like,
I know, me too. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like, man, what is it?
Yeah. So I can have that bias. You know what I mean? Like, I would not want to be. I could not be a judge. Trying to make
you say that a lot
because I'm just gonna lean toward her. I know how she feels. Let's just, now if you keep showing up, like the gentleman said, she was, there was a 1 point difference last year. So
and she's setting the tone. So she drives the division. So should we get into bikini?
Let's do it.
Yeah, we better.
So,
let's
really
do that.
fast. everyone, that is our wellness assessments. Huge shakeup. We're really excited about our new champion, Issa. We love all the ladies, and we wish them all the best. So congratulations, ladies, for sure. Yes. All right. So yes, let us get into it. So we had Saturday judging. Yes.
Another shakeup, but this was, we had Jennifer Dory had stepped away. We had Maureen pull out 2 days before. That was a surprise.
Yeah. Yes. We it's kind of far away, but something interesting, and I was talking to the ladies about this, but in the first call out, Sandy seemed like she pulled a 8-person call out for the first call out at almost every division. Here we had a first call out, and not everyone in the first call out wound up in the top 8. And there was one who actually didn't end up in the top 10 either. So it's not a guarantee that if you are in the first call out, you're going to necessarily be in the top 8 or the top 10.
And you know what that is? That's like the danger pocket. So the word we're talking about is Alexandra, who is on the far left in the red bikini. Okay, you guys, I think it was my second Olympia. I was in the first call out, and I was in that same spot, and the same thing happened to me. I got pushed to 11th place. Now, but if you are flanked far on the side, it can be, especially on a big call out, like 8 people, it can be really hard to get noticed or even showed the right angle. So watching, I know what it feels like. I've been there.
Wow. And we're looking at 52 women. 52 women on this stage. 52 women, guys. Yeah.
This was a huge class. So we have Alexandra, we have Angelica, Issa Piccini, Ashley Kaltwasser, Laura Lee Chapados, Maria Costa, Amy Delgado, and Jasmine. Jasmine came out of nowhere.
Yes.
Dude.
And Jasmine, and by the way, guys, Jasmine won the Atlanta Pro.
Of course she did.
Go, Jasmine.
Jasmine has been competing for a long time. I competed with her a long time ago, and she stepped back on the Olympia after taking the time away and placing second. Arguably, there's a good chance she could have even won the whole bikini class. I thought she looked amazing. So great job, Jasmine.
Yeah.
Wow.
She, we had, Jasmine taking third was huge.
Was it third or second?
Jasmine, Ashley Kaltwasser was second.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jasmine placed third. Yeah. And by the way, Laura Lee Chapados, it was unanimous. The 5 judges all had her first.
Oh, wow. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that so cool when that happens to you? You feel like, but it's also exciting when it's a 1-point difference, because then you feel like the ultra victory where you feel like you edge someone out. That's also really exciting. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Laura Lee has, I think, struggled with past Olympias. This particular show, the Olympia, has been hard for her she either comes in, too conditioned or too muscular. There's always a reason why she has not been able to lock it down. And she really, her and her coach Kimoto really nailed the look, and she looked amazing. And she just came into the whole show just knowing this is my show. It was basically her show to lose.
Yeah. And let me say this too with presentation and with Laura Lee. You could, with Laura Lee and Ashley Kaltwasser, you could see the experience. Yes. If you're there sitting in the audience watching prejudging, and also at the night show where there's so much pressure and we've got some top name, everybody there watching, you could see the confidence and the professionalism and just the experience.
Yeah.
I could see the experience. They didn't look nervous. Every little look, the little glances, the walking, the presentation was just so spot on.
Yeah, I'm going to say something, and I feel bad saying this, or maybe it's an unpopular opinion. And this is about Amy Delgado. And Amy, if you're watching this, I am one of your biggest fans. I absolutely adore your physique. I think I've always been rooting for you. And I know you will be one day Miss Bikini Olympia. But something about Amy seemed off this year. And when I saw her come out on prejudging, I was just like, oh no. So, like, she just seems off.
Yeah. Right? And you're saying about her, I agree with you. And that was because when we did the bikini battle and Ashley Kaltwasser there, Amy Delgado, and who else did we had 4, Laura Lee. And
Ashley,
yes. And I made that comment, like, I felt really confident that the next Ms. Olympia bikini was standing right there.
You said that.
Yeah.
You did.
Yes, and I said that. So I had my eye on Amy. I wanted to see Amy's presentation, and I felt that Amy, the disconnect, what I saw was the difference between what I'm saying as far as presentation with Ashley and with Laura Lee. Like, they were just comfortable up there, the way they moved, and it seemed like Amy still had she was nervous.
She seemed very nervous, like almost like a situation, like something happened before going on stage that kind of shook her up a little bit. And she didn't seem as sharp. She didn't seem as sharp as the other girls. And sometimes if you feel that way, or that your body seems off, it mind F's you the whole time when you're on stage too. But I was bummed, because I was really like, if I was able to be like, there's, I've got Dory, I've got like Pisco out of the loop. This is up for grabs.
It really was up for grabs. I mean,
and I saw that. Go ahead, Wendy. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that I kind of jump ahead and then we'll go rewind, but it excited me so much to see Ashley battling it out, because I was like, oh my gosh, how cool would that be if she ended up winning the whole thing?
Yeah. I think a lot of people, I was kind of feeling that way too, just because she's so just like always showing up, and she's always, I mean, gosh, you guys, I know. It's crazy. Her history's crazy, and she's still always like in that top 2 or 3. And like, oh my God, like, this girl's actually may reclaim this.
I know. I got so excited. It was like an exciting moment. It's kind of like when Erin Stern, like, came back in the bikini division, and I'm like, and she edged out Ashley Kaltwasser in a show right before the Olympia, and I was like, is Erin Stern gonna come back and win the Olympia in bikini? Like, this is gonna be like, it's from a fan standpoint, it was just good. It was just so exciting. But I think the judges did it right. I mean, I definitely think Laura Lee is a great representation. So I sort of injected that, but Linda, go ahead and continue with what you were saying.
No, I was just with each of them with their individual presentations, right? Like, we're showing, people want to see like comparisons, and so you see comparisons. When you walk out on stage as just you're showing your very best. That's your opportunity. You're not being compared to Ms. Olympia or anything. And that's where, when I see someone and they're a little off on that part, I mean, if I see it, the judges see it, other people see it. Yeah. And that's where, it's always kind of a little baffling for me. I think with bikini and wellness, like, to me, there's a lot of pressure, and also with figure. You guys are walking out in heels. It's like that. With bodybuilding and with women's physique, like, we go out and you do your mandatory poses, and sometimes I see people screw that up. Like, and I think, how in God's name do you screw up like the 7 or 8 mandatory poses, or showing the judges your best you. You don't have to show them something that, don't do a posing routine or do a weird pose that's not showing the best you.
Yeah.
But so that's where I'm going to say with bikini, when I looked at each girl coming out, and you just, you know,
you can see it, and that kind of goes back to Francielle. So here was our 6 through 10.
Yeah.
6 through 10.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Maria, Issa, Vanya.
Mm-hmm.
Vanya looked amazing. She, I think she was in that second call out brought in, and she made her way up to.
I love her physique. Oh,
Vanya, Vanya, she was definitely, I believe she was in the first call out, right? Vanya?
No, she was brought in to the end of the first call out. Kind of that.
Yeah.
Jordine and then Angelica.
Yeah.
National Little. But one person I think we need to talk about for a minute is Jasmine, who got 3rd place, and pull her up because she accomplished a very, very, very big thing this past weekend, and she looked incredible. I thought.
Yeah.
I was so
proud. I was so proud of her. You know, I mean, she won my show in Atlanta, and I even remember a couple of, you know, because it's hard. It's a qualification, and some of the athletes that play 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, they weren't that happy about it. And then this is confirmation, like for her to place 3rd in the world in front of a different group of judges. The judges, you know what I mean? So it's just that.
And for Jasmine, it was when they were on the back, when they were showing the backside, I thought her glutes were so similar in shape and size to Laurelie's. I thought she was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a battle between the two of them.
Okay. Wow.
She was second. But Jasmine just brought the heat out of nowhere, and she looked amazing.
I agree.
And and Angelica, she placed what, 10th? 10th. Wow. That's
and Angelica looked incredible.
She did.
She looked incredible for having 2 babies recently and coming back to the stage after a while. Like, she looked incredible.
And so what do you think about Jordan Lee? She placed 9th and 8th. Elisa Piccini.
So Jordan has such a beautiful physique. I believe she's she's a natural athlete. And I'm sure there's other girls on that stage too who are. We just don't. I think Jordan's just more vocal about it. And she's tall. You can tell she's type of physique that has a harder time putting on the muscle, but she just has a really beautiful structure. And I think her best attribute is like her smile and the way she the room. And she's consistent. She's very consistent. Last year, I think she came in really too much on the lean side. This year, she brought a fuller look, and she was awarded for it.
I wonder, is this the first time placing in the top 10?
No, this isn't her first time.
No, because she was. I'm trying to think. I don't have her.
She's been a top 10 pretty
consistently.
Consistently, yeah.
Yeah.
So I like the orange color on her. I think with her skin tone and her hair, I think it popped. Good.
Yeah. She looked awesome. And then before her was Issa Piccini. I thought Issa looked incredible. I think she lost a little. Issa lost a little bit of her tie-ins. I think like it didn't look as crisp as some of the other girls. From the front, Issa is always so dominant. However, I will say what used to award Issa, which was her lats and that lat spread. Now they are really not wanting to have bikini girls showcase this X frame. They want to see more of a softer hourglass. So when Issa stands in her front pose, we'll get it pulled up for you guys soon. But when Issa stands,
I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling it up right now.
She has this wicked lat spread and this flare, which makes her look very X-framed, and that is hurting her now, which is crazy because that used to be one of her dominant features. Like we used to all like have to like flare out our lats to keep up with her, and now it's like you want to tone it down a little bit.
Oh, I love her look though. She's so pretty.
She has like a superhero look.
Yes.
And I thought she like her hair, her makeup. I thought she looked like, I texted her and I was like, "You look like Victoria's Secret model."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she does.
Now she's qualified for life, right? Because she's won the Olympia, so she doesn't ever have to win a show to qualify for the Olympia. She could just go to the Olympia every year if she wanted to. So she may just surprise us all one of these years and just take the title.
Yeah, she probably will, but she looked beautiful. I just think if her tie-ins were a little tighter or crisper, I think that might have been helped her a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's just from the streamer's standpoint.
Is there anyone else that you want to talk about?
Bring up Ashley. I think then there was Ashlyn Little.
Yes, Ashlyn Little. Yeah. I don't think we've brought up Maria, but you can bring up Ashlyn.
Oh, Maria Costa.
Yeah. Maria Costa.
Need a second to get her up. Let me get her here. I got her right here. So let's talk about her. So we got Ashlyn Little. Cool.
So Ashlyn looked great. I thought when she came out on prejudging, I thought she looked like she came in like full to the max. Did you think that when you were watching live, Linda?
Yes, and so I didn't cover bikini, but live, absolutely sitting in the audience just as a fan watching. I just thought she was in great shape. And
did she look like really, really full? Like it was hard to see. Like I watched streaming I lost some of like the lines and I wasn't, but I know as she was posing longer, seemed like she was tightening up a little bit. I wasn't too sure what she was looking like in person.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I saw? She looked so, you know how when you see them in person and they're not on stage and they're just in their clothes, she looked really lean to me. She looked like on point to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate to Ashlyn because I have a similar dilemma as she has, which is she's so tiny. She's so much smaller than everybody else that like when she's by herself, she looks super impressive, but she kind of gets lost in a sea of girls sometimes because especially on a big stage like the Olympia stage, because she's so little, Ashlyn Little, no pun intended. It's just unfortunate on a big stage. You know what I mean? Because she really does have such a gorgeous physique. And I think for her, when she's in a pro show and she can duel off with one of the bigger girls, I think she's able to expose some of the, flaws in someone else and she's able to stand one-on-one. And then, when she's in the big giant stage, all these girls, I think it's just harder when, you're just a smaller competitor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would agree with you 100% on that. Definitely. You're right. You hit the nail on the head, Wendy.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was just a large, to me, to make that first call out or the second call out, and there are 52 women.
Well, and when I was watching it streaming, I mentioned to Chris, I'm like, I would hate to judge this because what's happening is the judges are writing down like, this is who I think should be, this is my top 5, this is my 6 to 10. They're helping the head judges get all the different calls. So when there's that many athletes, like you have to just like really just wow. And I thought with Ashlyn, like as she was up there longer and posing, she started looking better and better and better. And sometimes it can be just a little bit too late to be noticed that way.
Yes. Yes, you're right. Because that's how I make my decision too. I try to sit there and watch every athlete. And if you just stand out and you just sparkle and shine, it's like I put a star next to your name.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And then I want to see if the people I chose, if the judges call those athletes out. I'm like, yeah, I got it right. You know, and
I know
then
I still do that. I still do that.
you do, yeah.
And then
yeah. Go
lastly,
ahead.
we should talk about Maria Costa, and I think that's our top 10.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So let me
So
get let me get
Maria, I think I could be completely wrong on this. Was this Maria's first Olympia?
I believe so. Yes.
Give me 1 second. Keep talking. I'm getting it. 1 sec. 1 sec.
Well,
I believe
Maria
it's her
competed.
first Olympia.
Maria competed quite a bit this year, and she was improving, and really taking the judges' feedback to heart. And she really brought in a really awesome physique. She came from Mexico, and she looked amazing.
Mhm.
And she's a shorter athlete too, so she's kind of around the same height as Ashton Little that we just covered.
Mhm.
But
Sorry.
I'm just
So
going back.
Here we go. You're like, I'm just trying to pass time. We got her up here. Here we go.
Yeah, this is her first Olympia, and she placed 7th. That's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
She has a great look. I mean, she's just so well proportioned, you know?
She is. She really is.
How tall is she? She's got to be like 5 feet or shorter, right? She's a little thing.
I don't know. I have no idea.
She's tiny, but she's got such a great package. Everything is very well put together. She has good proportions. I do think she's short, but everything is really well like situated.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she has the right amount. And like we were talking about with wellness, they do want a unproportional, balance between the lower body and the upper body. In bikini, there's supposed to be a perfect symmetry and proportion. She's a really good balance from her upper body to her lower body. It's not too much muscle. It's just right. She's got like her and her coach. I don't know who she works with. They have a really good formula because it's well done for sure.
Yeah. So that wraps up our bikini and wellness.
Yes.
Woo,
Yes.
woo. Let's
And who are we covering next week?
Oh, next week, where we will cover women's bodybuilding and women's physique. Did we say that?
Yes.
So we have to break this up into 3 parts.
Let's see. We want to get Amy, just really fast. Just want to see the girls and their medals. See them winning. the final ones here. I like I said, I was so excited at the very end because when it got down to Lauralee and Ashley, I was like, either one, whether it's Ashley or Lauralee, I'm going to be so excited for different reasons. Ashley, I was thinking, oh my gosh, if she wins, she won her last title in 2016, I believe. And then was it 15 or 16? And then here we are. Almost
earlier, I think next year will be 10 years after she had won it. So
okay.
So
got it.
So 2015, I think, is when she last was Miss Bikini Olympia.
So we're talking about a decade span where she had won it 3 years. And then how exciting is that? You know what I mean? But Lauralee, oh my gosh, I love her to death. And when she won, I think that the whole room was just riveted. We're just so everyone loves that girl. She's absolutely such a great.
She is very popular. She would have won the People's Choice and Miss Bikini Olympia here.
They should have done that for the girls. They should have had a People's Choice for the women, I think.
I know. Why you guys one?
We got to talk to Jay about that.
That's right. And
I'm sorry. I had to share this moment because it was so special and I couldn't help myself.
That's a great moment. I feel like, I sat right there and I looked into their face, and thinking what are they thinking and feeling? And, Ashley, she's been there before. She's won the Olympia 3 times. Ashley Carrasser. Yes,
3 times.
and even now, Laura Lee, she was just really calm about it. She really
Yeah.
had that look like, you know,
She knew.
I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Whatever happens.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah,
at
she
all of
looked-
them run to that, like just congratulate her. I love this moment. I love these moments so much.
I know it was. Yeah, I mean, and it could have gone either way to Ashley or Laura Lee because they both really have different physiques, you know.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Laura Lee just brought it, and it was well deserved. And
Mhm.
we have a new bikini champion.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, look how beautiful that stage is. Beautiful
I
stage. Great
know.
job, Jake Wood.
Jake,
It's
you
great.
killed it on that stage. My
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah.
It was so exciting. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So you guys out there, join us. So we said next week we will do
Women's physique and bodybuilding.
mhm,
And then somebody asked about
fitness
Big-
and figure.
yeah, figure is going to be a big one
Big one,
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
one. Sid Gillen and
after.
retiring
Yep.
with her 8 wins, and we just want to
What?
thank all of you guys out there for following us, and we hope that you subscribe. We do our very best. We love your comments. You can see we want to know what you want to talk about and what you think. All right, so this is the place for us to do it. So I guess with that, we should call it a wrap, guys, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you, Wendy Fortino. Thank you, Camille Perriott. And
Thank
we
you.
love you guys. We'll see you next Friday.
Bye, guys.
That was quick.
I know. Did it
Are we
end?